On this triple stuffed episode of the Bits and Bytes podcast, we are going to break down Ubisoft, Sony, and Nintendo's press conference. So let's get started. What's up, everyone? I'm Jeff Shelley, and you're listening to the Bits and Bytes podcast. You can reach me on Twitter at Sky_Striker with a Y. You can check out our video Bits and Bytes podcast on our YouTube channel under Bits and Bytes. You can also check us out on Twitch live streamings on Monday afternoons and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. On this episode of the Bits and Bytes podcast, we are going to go over all three conferences. I hadn't got a chance to break down each one individually. I got like a cold. So we're going to just combine them all together into this mega stuffed episode of the podcast. So to start us off, we're going to jump with Ubisoft because that's the one, if we're going in order, that it will be next. So Ubisoft conference opened really cool. Really cool. It made me yearn for the years that Nintendo would actually be there live with Miyamoto joining on the stage with the blaster on his arm from the Mario Rabbids game. I thought that was really neat, really great touch. They had like I want to say like an impossible challenge to overcome here. I was not expecting to like this game at all. When the key art released for this like a few weeks back, I was just like, no, why God, no. This just looks awful. Like, why does this game exist? And now, after seeing the game running and how it's going, the gameplay, I mean, it looks like a Mario Rabbids XCOM, almost, with how it works. And I really like how the camera is, like, in, like, almost like a Mario 3D world type of location, like how when you're in the free roaming. So basically, as you're playing, there's two different modes of exploration. There's free roam, which is more of the Mario 3D world camera angle, and then there's the battle mode, which is the real-time strategic XCOM phase of the battle. So yeah, really impressed with that game. Just really liked it. I thought it was really good. The next game, The Crew 2, they announced that that's coming. It won't be arriving till early 2018. It's going to have cars, dirt bikes, and planes. I'm not quite sure how planes are going to work in that. Imagine maybe they'll add some like aerial challenges where you got to fly through hoops or something like that. I'm just not sure how interesting the flying will be. But I imagine they'll add some challenge to it and keep it running there. The next game they showed was this Transference game. It was like this very weird sort of VR game that they showed off. The next game they showed, this game had been rumored for a while. It's Skull and Bones. It's a Ubisoft open world pirate game that they've been working on. And today we just got confirmation with the trailer of Skull and Bones. It looks to borrow what everyone likes from Black Flag, but without the added baggage of all the lore that comes with an Assassin's Creed game. So they showed that off. Looks very cool. They showed off a little bit of PvP gameplay as well. The game is also supposed to be single player as well, but you can do PvP matches. The way they talked about it, it makes it sound like you're almost online all the time type of world where you're also competing with other players and you sort of can join like a team and stuff where you're competing with other players to get treasure and whatnot. Not sure, they haven't clarified that yet. That's just sort of speculation, but that's sort of the feel I got from that. Take it or leave it. Like, again, that's just sort of how I felt like they were going with it there. Next, they showed this Starlink Battle of Atlas. Sort of thought that was a weird choice, mainly because it's like a Toys to Life like Starship game, which sounds very odd to be coming out at this time when Disney Infinity's failed. I think LEGO Dimensions has announced that this is the last year for them. Skylanders isn't looking too great. I think it's the last year for them. So just sort of a very weird choice that's the direction they're heading. They then showed off Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 is a game I'm like excited for, but I'm not like super hyped about it. Like, I know I'm going to get it because it's more Far Cry, and I love Far Cry. They showed off sort of this guns for hire, fangs for hire, where you have like, they had hired this sniper to help take out enemies from far away. At the same time, he also had hired his fangs for hire, which was Boomer, this dog that also like maul enemies and maybe bring back the weapons and stuff. Definitely looked like Far Cry. Love Far Cry. Can't wait to play some more Far Cry, so excited for that game. Again, not like overly psyched, but it's one of those like sort of like old reliable, like I know I'm going to love it, so I'm just going to get it type of game. Next, this is what they ended the show on. Really cool. Really cool. Beyond Good and Evil 2. I don't know what to say about this trailer. It was just like mind-blowingly awesome. So we're just going to cut to the trailer and let it speak for itself.
Where's your master? I don't deal with domesticated.
Hey, the fuck? I ain't got no master, but I do have your little toy.
Show me the idol. Show me the Redeemer.
Here you go, mate.
Hey, G.
Yo, hand it over. I got a hot date who don't do late.
Monkey's got a date.
Mwah.
What? What?
What? That's Swiss fucking chocolate, pig. Bon appetito.
I want every fucking cop in this fucking city after that fucking bastard!
Grab my chassis, Noxie!
Easy, bro. Wearing bang, motherfuckers! Fuck me.
Damn!
It's about bloody time. Let's see what we've got. Moksha. Just as Yama described it. True freedom lies beyond.
So I think they said this trailer is actually a prequel to the first Good and Evil, or Beyond Good and Evil. So it actually takes place before the first game actually took place. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Again, the trailer was like really slick, really well put together, looked great. Super hyped for this game. There's no release date yet. If I had to speculate, I'd say probably 2019 before you see this thing come out on store shelves. Maybe next year we'll get lucky. E3 stage will have like a demo and some gameplay. That would be really cool to see. And so I'm going to score Ubisoft's conference. If I had to give them a score right now, it'd be A+. I think they, accepted and completed an impossible challenge with selling me on that Rabbids Mario game. Skull and Bones looked really good, and then just to end it with Beyond Good and Evil, just like I was so like revved up after that conference. It was unbelievable. It was just really good. So that took place during the afternoon on Monday, and then later that day was Sony's turn to take the stage. So I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed at Sony's E3 press conference. Not because the games that were shown weren't good. It's just because none of them are going to be out this year. Like, Sony basically showed off. They started the show with the Uncharted Lost Legacy, which will be coming out on August 22nd. They started the show with that, so that one's relatively close. Then they went into this Horizon Zero Dawn, the Frozen Wilds DLC. This one was a surprise for me because I did not see this one coming at all. I thought we probably weren't going to get any DLC. I don't know why I thought that. I just was shocked when it was Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, at first when I saw the Gorilla logo, I was like, oh, this has got to be like a Killzone game or something. But no, it's like more Horizon. I like loved Horizon. Really looking forward to playing this DLC patch. DLC. Next they went into Days Gone. I didn't think much of Days Gone when they first revealed it last year. Like, I thought, oh yeah, another zombie shooter game. Okay, looks good. Whatever. This year they really got me. I felt like it was very Last of Us mixed with some Horizon Zero Dawn. Just really cool, the demo that they showed. Basically, the demo takes place, he's like trying to find a buddy of his that's like in a camp, like an enemy camp somewhere. He's like riding his bike. These guys like choke him out on the bike. They have like a tripwire that takes him down off the bike. He fights both of them off, works his way through the forest, silently infiltrates these little outposts and whatnot. It looked really cool. I thought it was a much better demo than last year, where it was just the guns ablazing, hundreds of zombies heading at him. Really got me excited for this game. Again, though, no release date at the end, which I find weird. This is a game by Sony Bend. They haven't put a game out since 2012, which was Uncharted Golden Abyss, which was on the PS Vita. I thought for sure this game would be coming this year. I thought this would be their big holiday release, would be this. But once again, Sony has a lot to show, but not a lot to tell you when it's coming out. Again, then they showed Monster Hunter World. This is like a huge get for Sony, because the last few Monster Hunters have been, exclusively on Nintendo consoles, especially like the 3DS. I think that's one of the reasons the 3DS beat the Vita, was because it had Monster Hunter on it. Yeah, I think this is a huge get. Not a huge Monster Hunter fan, so I don't know what to think about what was shown in the gameplay trailer. Thought overall it looked good. Still looked a little rough, but from what I understand, Monster Hunter games look a little rough to begin with. But still, like a really huge get for Sony to have that at their E3 conference. They then showed off some of their VR, which looked good. I'm still a little concerned, though, that Sony is unwilling to support their own VR headset with first-party products. Like, it seems like they're counting on a lot of other studios to do it for them, which I was sort of hoping they would have more first-party. Like, I'm not expecting full games, but more like, oh, here's an hour-long, like, Uncharted experience on VR, or here's the Last of Us experience in VR, or here's, like, an hour-long Infamous game in VR. Just something with Sony's own IP attached to it to basically sell their own VR headset. And they're basically letting other companies do that for them. I'm not sure if it's going to hurt or hinder them in the long run. I think it just shows a lack of confidence in the product. But again, that's just my 2 cents. Sony then went on to God of War 4, which looked impressive, had a really well-edited trailer, also focused on some gameplay, and got to show more of Kratos. Had a lot of epic moments with a mix of some character drama between Kratos and his son. Very excited for this game. Looks like Kratos will now be like a more fully realized, compelling character. I think that's something really needed instead of just the aggro Kratos that we had gotten in the previous 3+2 PSP installments of God of War. The game also has a giant snake in it, which is awesome. I'm all about games with giant snakes. I think that's really cool. The release date for this one, early 2018. Again, really cool thing, but you gotta wait. You gotta wait for it. Detroit: Become Human. This game looks awesome. Like, I've loved the last few games from David Cage. Like, I loved Origami Killer one. I can't remember the name of it now, but we'll just go with Origami Killer, or Origami, as they called it in the game. Love Beyond, or Heavy Rain, that was the name of it. Enjoyed Heavy Rain, love Beyond. I know Beyond's like sort of moderately not as good. It's sort of more mediocre than Heavy Rain, but I enjoyed both of them for what they were, and I really enjoy that kind of like movie experience, but as like an interactive video game. So I'm really looking forward to this Detroit Becoming Human. Again, really cool gameplay demo, sort of showing like all the different paths you could take during the story mission that you were doing. But again, demo finishes, no date. So don't know when that's coming out. 2019 probably. So then for the end of their show, Sony then showed off a gameplay demo from Spider-Man. The game demo is really impressive. Basically shows Spider-Man. He arrives at a skyscraper that's being currently worked on. There's some enemies there, like called the Demons. I think it's a rival gang. So he starts. You sort of see a section where he stealthily takes them out. One by one. Then we get a section of him like actually fighting the enemies, and so we get to see a lot of how the combat's going to work, how the stealth mechanics are going to work. Then we get this really cool, it's like a really cool quick sequence with the button presses. So you're sort of going along and chasing this chopper as it's colliding into things and making like cranes fall and all sorts of debris fall to the ground below, and you're doing these cutscene quick button presses sequences to solve those and fix those problems before something happens. They did state that the game will have like fail states where if Spider-Man fails to complete an objective like that, it will fail back to previously before that happened to try again. The game is going to be open world. It features, so far, the only enemy they featured is Mr. Negative. I'm not too familiar with him. But overall, I was really impressed with the demo. It went from Spider-Man swinging outside chasing the helicopter at one point, dropping into a building, sort of like Uncharted style, and they're firing rockets at him as Spider-Man like heads over to reach the helicopter. Really cool demo. I thought it was really well done. If I had to give Sony a grade, I'd give them a C. I hate to do that. Like, Spider-Man was such an impressive demo. But again, a lot of the stuff they showed was the same stuff they showed last year. Like, they showed God of War 4 last year in like a 10-minute demo. They showed Detroit Become Human in a 5-10 minute demo, just with a different story section. They showed Spider-Man in a reveal trailer, so this is the first time we got to see gameplay. But it's all stuff that we'd seen last year, and with two of them not having dates on it, just really odd. Really odd. You'd think they'd have that ironed out. Like, you know, Days Gone has been worked on, I'd assume, for like 4 years. I think that would be close to being like, okay, we can put a date on this of next year. But I'm not sure if Sony's just trying to space out their games, and so they're just trying to figure out where release windows are going to be. But that's about all they showed. They did have one more thing where they showed a Shadow of Colossus remake, which is really cool. I have an article on BytsnBites.com if you want to check that out, sort of talking about what that might mean for the game industry as a whole, with redoing classic games with a more modern aesthetic. But you can check that out on BytsnBites.com, so I'm not going to get into too much of it here. So again, Sony gets a C. So then that takes us to Tuesday. Tuesday we had the Nintendo Direct, sort of one of their pre-recorded conferences. And surprise, surprise, we've been asking and clamoring for this for years, and they just revealed that Metroid Prime 4 is in production for the Nintendo Switch. Not only that, but they also announced that they are working on a Metroid game called Samus Returns, and that's coming to the 3DS on September 15th. Now, if you remember, they released Metroid Prime Hunters like earlier this year, which was not too well received because it didn't have Samus in it and stuff. So it's really cool to see Samus being put more in the forefront here as Nintendo starts to gear up their new console, and plus sort of send some swan song out to the 3DS. So that was really cool. I was really impressed with with the Metroid Prime 4 announcement. Did not see that one coming. That's one of the ones where it's just like sort of wildest dreams that would happen, and that actually happened. So that was really cool. Next, they showed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Never played the first Xenoblade Chronicles, but based on what I've seen of this game, I will probably definitely be picking it up to play on my Nintendo Switch. Like, I love having my Switch for, like, RPGs. Right now, I think there's only really two. There's Zelda and I Have Setsuna, which I played through both of those. So I'm really chomping at the bit for another one. The game right now sort of has just a release date window. It doesn't really have anything, like, ironed out too definite, just for holiday 2017. So I'd probably peg this game for a late November release, probably in the 19th in the teens maybe. I would think that. Cool thing, Kirby's coming to Switch, which is another cool have. Looks like it's going to be more of a multiplayer game. No title was really announced for it. Pokemon RPG. Game Freak confirmed that they're working on a straight-up Pokemon RPG for Switch. This is like great news. Nothing was shown. I think this is still a ways off. I mean, I think Game Freak can turn things around pretty quick, but I couldn't see this game coming out at the earliest until 2019. Actually, I'd feel more confident with a 2020 release date on this. On that title. They showed that they also showed a Yoshi title, which is coming to Switch in 2018. Sort of very cardboard diorama looking, with two different levels to the stage, where Yoshi plays like the front level, and then he can go back behind stuff that he couldn't previously. You can like sort of knock down like bushes and enemies by throwing your eggs at them. It looked very cute and charming. Again, Yoshi, every time they seem to put out a game with Yoshi, it sort of has this really cute aesthetic to it. So it just looked more of the same like that, but still really good. Rocket League, they announced, that's going to be coming to Switch with the option to put Mario hats on your car. So just having Rocket League available like on the go, I think is a really cool premise and a really cool idea that I can get behind. So they finished off their conference with Super Mario Odyssey. This game just looks crazy, just crazy and wacky all over it. Like, I think, like, it starts off with Mario as a dinosaur. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, Mario is a dinosaur. Like, you can literally take over other enemies and they get like a little mustache on them, and you know Mario's in control of them. Like, he's taking over Bullet Bills and Goombas and all sorts of stuff. Typical, usual Mario 64, Mario Sunshine type of movement, and the triple jump and all that stuff's back. Really like, they showed him in like different outfits. I think he was wearing like a Star-Spangled suit. Then he had like a Mexican hat and like just different outfits. I think there was an Explorer outfit and stuff that you can get. Just really cool looking visual style to it and everything. Really excited for this game. I think Nintendo's going to hit it out of the park this year. Just really looking good. The only thing I worry about is them getting burned out, because I'm feeling like I'm a little concerned they're front loading, and then come next year it's going to be sparse. Like, I feel like, we're getting all this great stuff in 2017 for the Switch launch lineup, but then come next year it's going to be like this Yoshi title, and then wait a few months, then something else. But we're not going to be getting the big titles that we had just gotten, because we just got a Zelda, we just got a Mario. So I'm a little worried what that brings for next year. We'll see. I mean, maybe they'll have a Fire Emblem or something by next year to show, besides Fire Emblem Heroes, like a traditional Fire Emblem. Overall, I'd give Nintendo an A. I was still a little bit disappointed that there was no hide nor tail mention of the Virtual Console. I don't know if that's like really that hard to do for the Switch. I imagine it is, or they would have mentioned it by now. I'm not sure if maybe they're holding on to that, just because my theory is they're front-loading 2017 here, and come 2018 it's going to be sparse, so maybe they start putting out some Virtual Console titles and get people excited that way by saying, hey, Virtual Console is now out. We got Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Brothers, like all these games coming onto your Switch. Sort of maybe using that to pad out 2018, because maybe it'll be a sparse year. So that's it. like we went through, we broke down every conference, did 3 in this one, so mega stuffed. So who won E3? So who would be the overall winner of E3? I'd have to go with Ubisoft. I think their conference was tight. It just had this whimsy to it at the beginning, and then it sort of came back down into a more serious tone with the Cross and Bones and the other titles they shown, and then they ended strong with Beyond Good and Evil. So yeah, I would just have to go with them this year. If I had to pick someone that lost this E3, I'd have to say Sony. Sony basically reran the same E3 as it had last year with the same titles. I was really disappointed. I was expecting to see something that surprised me from them, and it just didn't pan out. It was more of the same. It was more of the titles that we had seen previously at last year's E3. So that would probably be my least favorite show this year would have been the Sony show, and that was the one I was most excited going into. So we're going to end the podcast here. So thanks again for watching or listening or however you're getting this. If you want to check us out, we're available on your podcast service provider of iTunes and Stitcher. You can check us out on the Bits and Bytes YouTube channel as well as Bits and Bytes Twitch TV channel. Also, if you like what we do and think it's worth $1, you can check out our Bits and Bytes Patreon page and donate $1. If you don't think it's worth $1, that's okay too. For BytsnBites.com, I'm Jeff Shelley. You can reach me at Sky_Striker with a Y on Twitter. And that's it. We be out.